All right, so we've been looking at just the basics of Illustrator, and now I want to give you guys a chance to draw something just so you can practice working with things and see how it goes. This is something you'll hand in, so we want to try to do a good job with it. Let's just draw a basic house like this. You could make any design house you want, but I chose this particular look for this one because it can all be made with basic shapes. I'm not trying to use the pen tool to draw or anything like that. We will do that, but we're just trying to use the tools we have so far, right? So here's this simple house. I have a few others I did. I guess this is sort of a Halloween theme. I don't know. You know, I set the house. I did this last year, and while the class was working on it, I kept fooling around. But I tried to make everything with just basic shapes. Here's another one. I guess we don't really need missiles destroying the house, but everything here is basic shapes. Right? So yeah, if you look at, oh, by the way, let me point out also, you can have multiple files open in Illustrator. They'll be tabbed in up at the top, okay? And you can just click between them. So like I said, this design is easy to do because you can just make a triangle for the roof, etc. But here's another one that's, you know, just made with basic shapes. Okay, so like it's all rectangles. The bushes are just a bunch of ellipses piled on top of each other, and then there's a rectangle the same color as the grass put on top of it down here like that. See, just to make it look like it has a flat bottom on it. The clouds are, and the smoke is just a bunch of white or gray ellipses with no stroke piled on top of each other. The sun is a multi-pointed star with a gradient. So, and like the, let's see, what else did I do here? The roof is just a triangle. Okay, so let me get you started. And so I'll say File, New, just doing a regular vertical type page. And I think I'll make the sky and the grass first. So I'll just make a rectangle for the grass like this on the bottom of the page. And I'm going to give it a green fill. I want no stroke, so I'm going to turn the stroke off, right? Hit the red slash. Bring the fill to the front, and then just pick a green swatch. That'll work. Maybe that green, yeah. And now I'm going to just copy the graph. I could draw another rectangle, but if I copy this up, it will exactly be, you know, the same on the left and right. So I click down on the first. Remember, mouse goes first. Shift constraint, Alt to copy, drag up. Okay, and that's going to be my sky. Just make sure the fill is in the front. Hit blue. Okay, and I'm just going to pull in the bounding box handle here to scale it asymmetrically up. So that's our place for the sky. Now, if you want a gradient on the sky, you know how normally the sky gets kind of lighter towards the horizon. We can do that. If I just hit the gradient button while the fill's in the front, it's going to do that. Not very good looking, but it should also open my gradient palette, and I can change that to -90 or 90 degrees. Okay, and then I'm just going to drag that light blue right on top of where the black was, and that doesn't look bad. I can, if I don't want to go to completely white, I can just click here and then to put in a new marker and then pull away on the white one. And that's a nice background. Okay. And then let's see, what do we got here? So I'm going to start, I'm going to close a few of these. So I'm just making a rectangle for the body of the house. Something like that. And I'm just going to make that some solid brown color. Okay. And to make the roof, right? That's just a triangle that I stretched out. Okay, these are the two I want. So I'm going to take the triangle, the polygon tool, right, and just click once. I'm going to give it a 3-sided polygon and just stretch this thing. It's no shift because it's an asymmetrical scale, right? Till it has the look I want. I'm going to select both of them and horizontally align center. I'm using the little shortcut up here just so they're, so it's neat on top of each other. Now, one other thing that you may notice is, see how the gradient, this window is just a bunch of rectangles, but the gradient runs across them. It's like one gradient, each one doesn't have its own gradient. So, for example, if I were to make a rectangle for a window like that, all right, I just clicked on the sky last, so kind of remembered that as the current gradient. And then I shift to constrain, alt to copy, and then control D. Let's say I have something like that. See how each one has its own gradient? Well, if I select all of them holding shift down, okay, this is a new thing. There's the gradient tool here, right? It looks like a gradient on the toolbar. And if I go there and just click and drag, see, each object has its own little gradient. It's kind of like dental, the junk in here. But if I just drag across like that, see that? It just makes the gradient occurs between those two things. So I can make a nice gradient that way. All right, and put the door in, some nice windows, chimney. What do I got here? Some, this is a multi-pointed star. Just try to make a nice looking house, spend a little bit of time on it. And to hand it in, what we'll do is we'll put in, when we hand in projects in this class, I think that we're pretty much always going to hand in JPEGs, not Illustrator files. Okay, don't just save this and hand it in. You want to hand in a JPEG. That way I don't have to open each thing in Illustrator. I can just see it as a picture. And we'll post the JPEGs in the forum, the discussion area on Blackboard. And I will include instructions on the forum that you're going to post it in right there, just so you know how to put a picture in. But we'll do that probably just about every week, so that'll become routine. But in Illustrator, how to save it as a JPEG is it's actually exporting it. So you got to go File, Export. You do this when you're done with the house. Okay, Export as, File, Export, Export as, and you make sure you're going somewhere you want to be going to, right? And for save as type, I don't know what it's going to default to, but I'm saying JPEG, right? And use artboards, okay? Use artboards means it's just going to save it as the page. Otherwise, it's going to save a file that's exactly the constraint, the size of whatever you drew on there, which may or may not be good if you have extra junk outside or whatever. It can make it look messy. So do use artboards and call it whatever you want to call it, and export. And then this thing will come up. This is just your JPEG settings. I don't know what, it's remembering what I last did. So mine may be different than yours. Resolution, medium 150 pixels per inch. I think that's going to be fine. Quality, as long as it's up near the high end or at maximum. Color model, RGB. That should be fine, and okay, and it's saving the JPEG, and that's the file you're going to hand in, not the Illustrator file. Okay, it just make the class. We can all go on there and look at pictures. Otherwise, everybody would have to open, and I would have to open Illustrator and open the file to see what you did. It's much quicker to look at JPEGs. All right, so make a nice house.